Good morning and welcome to Sharing Our Cultures 2024. We are very honored that you're here. My name is Margaret Bayer and I will be your MC today. I am a grade 11 student at Mealy Mountain Collegiate and I'm so excited to show you what we have prepared for you today. This is the 5th Sharing Our Cultures event in Labrador, and this special event fosters and encourages the acceptance of all backgrounds in recognition of Francophonie Day, the United Nations International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and the province's Multiculturalism Month. The students and I have been working very hard to create presentations and share a very important part of ourselves with you guys today, our cultures. We thank you for joining us as we take this time to celebrate diversity, traditional values, and bilingualism. Bienvenue à tout le monde et bienvenue à la découverte de nos cultures 2024. Nous sommes très honorés que vous êtes ici. Je m'appelle Margaret Bayer et je serai votre maître de cérémonie aujourd'hui. Je suis une étudiante de 11e année à l'école Mealy Mountain Collegiate et je suis très excitée pour vous montrer ce que nous avons préparé pour vous aujourd'hui. Cela est le 5e événement à la découverte de nos cultures ici au Labrador. Et cet événement spécial encourage l'acceptance de toutes les cultures en reconnaissance de la journée du francophonie, la journée internationale des Nations Unies pour l'élimination de la discrimination raciale et le mois du multiculturalisme. Les étudiants et moi ont travaillé très fort sur nos présentations et on veut partager avec vous aujourd'hui un aspect très important de nos vies, nos cultures. Nous vous remercions pour nous joindre alors que nous prenons ce temps pour célébrer la diversité, les valeurs traditionnelles et le bilinguisme. To get things started, I would like to welcome to the stage our principal at Mealy Mountain Collegiate, Mr. Stephen Brazel. J'aimerais accueillir le directeur de MMC, Mr. Stephen Brazel.
Thank you, Margaret. Hello, everyone. Welcome, students, QPMS, École Boreale, families, community members, and special guests. I'm thrilled to extend a warm welcome to all of you as we gather here today for the 2024 Sharing Our Culture event at the Lawrence O'Brien Arts Centre. We gather to celebrate diverse backgrounds and traditions that make our school community special. Let's embrace this opportunity to learn from each other and to celebrate the richness of our cultures before us. Today is about making connections, deepening our understanding, and celebrating the unique identities that make us who we are. Special thank you to Loidetta, Jessica, Dave, the students, and NL Schools for making this event possible and for providing this opportunity. Thank you all for being here. Let's enjoy this fantastic event together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brazel. Merci beaucoup. Next on our agenda is our land acknowledgement. Please give a warm welcome to our EAL teacher and SOC teacher sponsor, Mr. David Emery. En prochaine, nous aurons notre reconnaissance des terres lue par Mr. David Emery.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, everyone. Great to see everybody here this morning. And as we get started, I would just like to remind everyone that we respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we live and work as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and the Beothuk. We also recognize the Inuit of Nunatsiavut and Nunavut and the Innu of the Nation and their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. Let us strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples in this land as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation. Thank you, and merci.
All right, we will now listen. We will not listen. We will move on to our first student presentation by Aidan Wheeler and Marshall Harding, representing and celebrating the culture of the Nunatsiavut Inuit. S'il vous plaît, accueillons Aidan Wheeler et Marshall Harding, qui représentent les cultures des Inuits Nunatsiavut.
All right. Hi, my name's Aiden Wheeler, and helping me present today is my good friend, Marshall Harding. Today, we're talking about Indigenous sports for Inuit and Nunasivut. All right, first up is a seal kick. Seal kick is a sport where player jumps on one foot, kicks the little steel on a stick, and lands on that foot they kicked with. You normally get 3 tries. This event is really popular in Nunasivut and the Labrador Winter Games. Helping me in doing it is Marshall again. You got this. Cheer him on. He was close. That was close. All right, next up. Leg wrestling. Yeah, I know. Leg wrestling, 2 players lie down on their backs, side to side. They cross their arms, they lift up their legs, and on a count of 3, they try to flip each other over. You ready, Marshall? All right. 1, 2, 3. All right, next up is a seal crawl. Seal crawl, or normally known as a walking plank, you're basically just crawling on 2 hands and dragging your legs behind you. All right, you ready, Marshall? All right, see it. And last up is yell hop. Yell hop, you're on 1 foot. You try to take your leg behind your other leg, and you just hop like that for as long as you can. But as soon as your other leg starts to go by lower than your knee, you're out. Yeah, all right. Now I just want to talk about what these Northern Games mean to me. When I was younger, and like many other people of my age, like Marshall and our MC Margaret, we played these games growing up in summer camps, in school, wherever. But I found that I was the only one who liked actually doing it and would ask normally if we could do it. Sports in general is a really big part of my life, and knowing that this huge culture is a part of it means a lot to me. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Can we have another round of applause for Marshall Harding and Aiden Wheeler? All right, so we will now listen to a short video from the Honorable Goody Hutchings, Minister of Rural Economic Development. Maintenant, on va écouter une courte vidéo de l'Honorable Goody Hutchings, ministre du Développement économique rural et ministre responsable de l'Agence de promotion économique du Canada Atlantique.
Hey friends, congratulations on the 24th annual Sharing Our Culture's Heritage Art and Craft event, both in St. John's and Happy Valley-Goose Bay. Regretfully, I can't be with you in person, but I wanted to share just a few words and pass along my best wishes to each and every one of you. First of all, I want to acknowledge Dr. Logtada Cuego and her team for bringing this event to life. And I also want to thank each and every one of the participants for coming together to celebrate diversity and make connections across generations. Since 1999, sharing our cultures has brought people closer. It helps us understand each other better. It encourages us to celebrate diversity all across our province. And events like this one are all about bringing people together and communities together. And we learn from one another and we build bridges, not just between cultures, but between ages too. As a Newfoundlander and Labradorian, and as Minister responsible for the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, I'm so proud to help Sharing Our Cultures provide the tools, resources, and the opportunities for people to build their skills and share their knowledge so that we can all build a brighter future together. And so many cultures are represented with you all. This year's theme of One World, Many Stories is a beautiful reminder that no matter what your culture, ethnicity, or background, your story matters. You matter, and you will be seen, you will be heard, and you will be valued. So keeping all this in mind, I wish you each a wonderful day as you learn about each other's diversity, history, and stories. And you know what? This is more than an event. This is a chance to forge lasting friendships and positive partnerships. Together, through events like this one, we will continue to weave the rich culture and tapestry that exists throughout all of Newfoundland and Labrador. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. All right. Next up, we are honored to have Bonnie Learning, the constituency assistant, as a guest speaker today. S'il vous plaît, accueillons la jointe de circonscription, Bonnie Learning.
Good morning, everyone. As Margaret introduced me, I am Bonnie Learning. I'm the constituency assistant to MHA Perry Trimper, who can't be here today. He did have a few words written here for me to share with you today. So I'll apologize in advance if I mess anything up, but he wanted me to share some thoughts with you today. First, thanks to Jessica Keefe for the invitation. I regret that I cannot join you. However, I need to be with my wife, who is very ill. I'd like to acknowledge Lloydetta Quaco, who I've come to know over the years, including when she received the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. So Perry wants me to ask you, do anybody know what a cultural iceberg is? Have you ever heard that term? No. Okay. So, as with a real iceberg, if you can picture an iceberg in your head, you have the tip of the iceberg, which is what you see visible out of the water, and the other 90% is underneath. So, as with the real iceberg, there's much more below the surface, and that is a reflection on an expression of our culture. So, for example, the very tip of the iceberg that's visible to us when we meet someone new, you see their physical characteristics. You can determine pretty much their age, the language they speak, look at the clothes they wear. Less visible, so below the surface, we have their body language, which you can't quite always determine. Their favorite foods, talents, their religious practices, the talents they have. And down even lower, at the very bottom of the iceberg, that's not visible at all, would be their personal beliefs, their worldviews, their thought patterns, their family attitudes and values. So, with regards to the natural environment, Perry notes that this was the original iceberg for the indigenous peoples of the world. So they coexisted sustainably as part of the ecosystem for millennia, before technology, before other cultures and other experiences changed who they were and who they are. The indigenous peoples in Labrador existed in Labrador for thousands of years. Their culture is an expression of this land. That is why these local cultures have these strong attachments to the land, and why climate change, which is happening rapidly, will affect not only the physical features of the land, but the culture of these indigenous peoples and other peoples who come to call Labrador home. The exciting part of sharing our cultures is that we are all in it together. We need to support each other and recognize that all that is below the surface of each one of us as we learn to live and share this planet together. He's wishing everyone a successful event, and again, he regrets he can't be here, but he hopes you all have an enjoyable day and enjoy all the presentations taking place here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie Learning. Merci beaucoup. So, next up, we will have a musical performance by Franz Alvi and John Sebastian, performing a traditional song from the Philippines, Batang Bata Kapa. Prochaine, on aura un spectacle musical par Franz Alvi et John Sebastian, qui fête une chanson traditionnelle des Philippines, Batang Bata Kapa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Franz, and this is Sebastian. We're here to perform a Tagalog song, and it's called Batang Bata Ka Pa. This song talks about the struggles of young people who are still trying to find their place in the world. In our country, many young people are losing their way as they're growing up. This song reminds us that we shouldn't be hasty about our decisions in life because we have so much to learn. Batang bata ka pa at marami ka pang kailangang malaman at intindihin sa mundo. Yan ang totoo. Nagkakamali ka kung akala mo na ang buhay ay isang mumunting paraiso lamang. Batang bata ka lang at akala mo na alam mo na ang lahat na kailangan mo malaman. Buhay ay di ganyan. Tanggapin mo na lang ang katotohanan na ikaw ay isang musmus lang na wala pang alam. Makinig ka na lang. Makinig ka na lang. Ganyan talaga ang buhay, lagi kang nasasabihan, pagkat ikaw ay bata at wala pang nalalaman. Makinig ka sa aking payo, pagkat musmos ka lamang, malaman ng maaga ang gusto sa kamalian. Batang bata ko, nalalaman ko to, inamin ko rin na kulang ang aking nalalaman at naunawaan. Ngunit kahit ganyan ang kinalalagyan, alam ko na may karapatan ang bawat nilalang. Kahit bata pa man, kahit bata pa man. Nais ko sanang malaman ang palitotohanan, sariling pagraranas ang aking pamamagitan. Imulat ang isipan sa mga kulay ng buhay, maging tunay na malaya sa katanging-tanging bata. Bata ka pa at marami ka pang kailangang malaman at intindihin sa mundo. Yan ang totoo. Nais ko sanang malaman ang mali sa katotohanan, sariling pagraranas ang aking pamamagitan. Batang bata ka lang at akala mo na alam mo na ang lahat na kailangan mong malaman. Buhay ay di ganyan. Imulat ang isipan sa mga kulay ng buhay, maging tunay na malaya sa katangi-tanging bata. La 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 la.
All right, thank you so much, John, Sebastian, and Franz. Can we give them another round of applause? All right, our next cultural presentation will be by yours truly, so please give me just a few seconds to set up there. All right, so Liam, if it's okay, I'm gonna move to the middle. Okay, so if we haven't caught on already, my name is Margaret Bayer, and you will be seeing my face a lot more throughout the program. But now it's my turn to show you guys a part of my culture, which is weaving. So today we're gonna be discussing 4 main topics on the subject of weaving, specifically in the country of Ghana, where my family is from. We're going to be discussing the art itself of weaving and how you actually do it. We're going to be discussing the origin and history, specifically one story in the history of Ghanaian culture. We are going to be discussing different types of cloths and materials that you can make using loom. And we are going to be discussing the modernity of the types of clothing that you see here. So let's get started with how it's done. To weave, you need a loom. That is your main piece of equipment. That is your weaving machine, if you will. On a loom, as we can see in this picture over here, we have the threads that are typically made of wood and yarn. That's where this over here, where this cloth is, that's where your main action is happening. You're also gonna have a seat attached to the loom on the opposite end of where your tie-up will be, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. And depending on the type of loom you have, you may need to use a rock to hold your clothing steady. Where I come from, a lot of the looms, especially in the upper village where my family lives, don't have the second beam that we're going to talk about as well on the next slide, so they need to use a rock to tie it down to make sure that their beautiful creations don't just come unraveled as they're making that. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the process of weaving. The first thing we have is warping. So warping is when we're gonna actually take the threads that we're going to use and spread them out throughout the loom. They're still gonna be kind of bundled together, but in our next step, we're gonna get ready so that we can actually weave them together. That next step would be rattling, which is the process of threading the threads through the loom. As we can see here, the threads have already been spread out, and you can see kind of like 2 different layers. Can everybody see that in this picture? The 2 different layers of threads? Kind of? All right, those are called shafts, okay? And those are basically where the different colors and different patterns will intertwine as you switch between. The next step that we're going to use in our process is called beaming. So this is where if you need to use a rock because you don't have a proper type of loom, it would come in handy. Beaming is when we're gonna take the other end of the string that we just had, and we're gonna wrap it around a beam on the other side of our loom. So we're sitting here, we're gonna wrap our strings over here, so that there's tension when we're weaving. And the tension basically ensures that our cloth is not coming unraveled as we're doing it. This is the point where you can look at the length of your cloth, and you can look at the colors you're using and make any changes before you get really, really deep into it. Our next process will be reading. So if you have ever seen a loom in use, have you ever seen, how many people have seen a loom in use, actually? A few, okay. So you know that part where it seems like the person grabs a contraption on the loom and pulls it back, and then all of a sudden you can see the complete design? Kind of? All right, so I just explained to you what it is. That's called reading. Basically, this is how you separate the threads that you have already woven and the threads that are still loose, so that you know what your design is looking like, and if you're messing up somewhere, you can take it out and rethread it. And last but not least, we have the tie-up. So once you get to the very end of your cloth, you obviously need to make sure that it doesn't come undone, so you will perform a tie-up on your cloth, and you have woven a cloth. Now we're going to talk about the origins of weaving. So the most common origins of weaving in Ghana comes from a southern region called the Ashanti region. And I'm going to tell you a story today about two weavers that discovered the cloth that I'm wearing today and that we see on this rack called Kente. The book is called The Spider Weaver, and it's written by Margaret Musgroves. So, once upon a time, during the reign of the king Oti at Kensen, two weavers named Nana Kuragu and Nana Amewa were the most famous weavers in the village. They made a cloth called Nuentoma. This cloth was worn specifically by men, but also by people in high power. One day, as these weavers were also hunters, they went into the forest to collect their traps. And they found something reflecting off the lanterns that they were using as they were walking. They looked down, and they saw a beautiful spider web, complete with very interesting colors and intricate designs. They loved the spider web so much that they thought, what if we tried to recreate this as a cloth? What if we brought this to the village and it was something that we could wear? We would be even more famous as weavers then, wouldn't we? So they tried to pick up the spider web. As we all know, spider webs are very, very delicate, and it crumbled in their hands. Discouraged, they went back to the village, and they were very sad, obviously. So they met up with Nana Kuragu's wife, and she suggested that they go back into the forest and try to figure out who made the spider web. Sounds kind of crazy, right? Trying to find one spider in the middle of a huge forest. But they went back. And right at the tree where they had tried to collect the spider web, they found a spider already working on a brand new design right in place of the old one. Now, from their previous efforts, they already knew that they couldn't collect the spider web and bring it back. So they figured, at least we found the spider that made it. Let's just go back home. But, newsflash, the spider can talk. So he turned around and said, we'll sit here, and I will teach you guys how to weave, as long as you don't mess with my designs anymore. And we all know that we don't want to mess with spider webs. So they sat down and learned from the spider. They learned how to weave the intricate pattern and went back to the village and copied it on their looms. And they were successful. The pattern that they made, they decided to call Kente. And that is the story of how Kente came about in Ghana. So now we're gonna, thanks guys. Now we're gonna move on to our third topic and talk about Kente and other types of cloth. So, if we haven't caught on already, this what I'm wearing, this on my shirt, that is Kente. So what makes Kente different from any other type of cloth, like the ones you see here? Well, Kente is kind of like patchwork. The way you look at it, there are a bunch of different sections, but you can tell that there's repetitiveness, and there's short vertical sections. That's the main difference between Kente and other things. Because as we can see on this here, there's vertical sections, right? But they're not short patterns, and they're not repeating. Kente was associated with status way back in the day. So only the highest of the high power would be wearing it. Now, as you can see, everybody can wear it. And there's no association with status at all. It's just association with the culture. Thanks. It remains very, very popular in modern day wear, as you can see, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. The next type of cloth that we're going to talk about weaving is called smocks and fugu. So smocks are very, very heavy. I don't know if you can tell the difference between me holding this and me holding the last one, but it is a very, very thick material. Smocks are known for their convenience. There's one way to wear a smock. You're going to take this, open up the bottom, throw it over your head, and it's on you. So, why are smocks so common? Well, because number one, they're very, very common. They're a very, very common pattern to make. And number two, back in the day, they used to be used to protect clothing. Now, in rural areas of Ghana, farming is a very, very big industry. So every day you would be going out and you would be digging through dirt, basically. The thing with the smock is, you put it on top of your clothing, you get some dirt on it, at the most you can take it off, hit it a few times, and it'll be good as new. And you protect the clothes underneath. They're also associated with fancy wear. So if you're going to church, or if you're going to a funeral, or if you're going to some sort of important event, you can just throw on a smock and you're good to go. All right, and the last type of cloth that we are going to talk about, which is not necessarily a woven cloth, but still nonetheless popular, is the Angelina or dashiki cloth. So these are very, very lightweight. You can almost see through it, right? Yeah. So they're very convenient to put on. They are very casual wear. You wouldn't wear this to like church or something. You'd wear this going to visit your friend or when you're just chilling at home, you know? And it is very, very common because it came in with the influence of the Chinese industry. And we all know a lot about the Chinese industry's influence on the world. All right, and our last topic is going to be about the modernity of these cloths. So beforehand, like I said, kente and other cloths would be associated with status. But now there are all types of different things that you can make with kente. Not just clothing, but also backpacks. You can make phone cases. I have a wallet and a fan that are made out of kente. And there's just so much diversity in the types of objects that people have tried to recreate this pattern with. So kente especially is way, way more common than it used to be. And people who use it to dress up are just actively representing their culture every time they put a piece of it on. It doesn't even have to be something really, really elaborate, like a big dress or something fancy. It could be a shirt, like I'm wearing today, just to represent the proudness and the rich heritage of Ghana and its culture. And with that, I would like to thank you for listening to my presentation. All right. Next on the agenda, we have a few words from our Deputy Mayor, Ms. Ella Wallace, so please welcome her to the stage. S'il vous plaît, accueillons la maire adjointe du ville de Happy Valley-Goose Bay, Ella Wallace.
Thank you very much, Margaret. That was wonderful. On behalf of the town of Happy Valley-Goose Bay, I would like to thank you for the invitation to be here today. As a first-generation Canadian, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here at the opening ceremony of the Sharing Our Cultures 2024 event. Sharing our culture does not lessen or take away from one's culture. It shares an understanding and appreciation. It creates empathy and acceptance. Our town of Happy Valley-Goose Bay is one that attracts families from all countries around the world. We are very proud to have a wide variety of different cultures and countries represented within our community. We continue to embrace diversity, and this is how we grow as individuals, how we enhance economically and intellectually. There is no residency time limit to say you're from Happy Valley-Goose Bay. If you're living in and loving our region, we are all from Happy Valley-Goose Bay, Labrador, and all are welcome. We are one town, many stories. We are one world, many stories. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Ella Wallace. Next up, we will have a few words from Ms. Tina White, who is the Director of Labrador Schools and Northern Affairs. S'il vous plaît, accueillons la directrice des écoles du Labrador et des Affaires du Nord, Madame Tina White.
Thank you, Margaret. My God, you guys can do a better hand than that. Come on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You got to have a bit of humor in these things. So I'm very happy to be here today. Big thank you to Sharing Our Cultures, Dr. Lordetta Quaco, Jessica Keefe, David Emery for the invite to this very special event. I'm a little freaked out right now. Aiden Wheeler and Marshall. Yeah, not often I sit down to view a presentation and the person who is doing the seal kick in the slide is me. When I was 25 years old and teaching down in Seshachie. So that was a really, really long time ago. I think I kicked 6'1", which is pretty good when you're only 5 feet tall, and I came second place, so not too bad. The Northern Games are very special to me as a participant in the Labrador Winter Games back in, it was 95 maybe, but also in my role as the Director of Labrador Schools and Northern Affairs. I often travel up and down the coast, and I've been to many, many, many sports meets, both fall and winter, over the last 8 or 9 years. And the Northern Games are featured in each one. And the camaraderie, the participation, the sportsmanship that is exhibited during these events is, I've got no comparable to it. So I understand why they are important to you, Aiden, because they are part of our culture as Labradorians now. So 6 years ago, the principal from Mealy Mountain called me. They've been contacted by Dr. Lordetta Quaco and Sharing Our Cultures. They want to do an event at Mealy Mountain. Up to that point, Sharing Our Cultures was basically in St. John's. The principal called me and said, how are we going to do this? Well, I got to be honest. I was not really aware of what Sharing Our Cultures was, and I had absolutely no idea who Dr. Lordetta Quaco was. Didn't take me long, though, to learn about Sharing Our Cultures and Lordetta. If you've never met her, she is a force to be reckoned with. Even though she's this little lady, her passion about multiculturalism, her passion about the importance of language and culture is unmatched in my dealings with a lot of people throughout this province. So if you haven't seen her, she's over here. Okay? And she's largely responsible for forming the partnership between us in the Labrador region and Sharing Our Cultures and making this our 5th event. So a big hand to Dr. Quaco and her group. So as Margaret said earlier, I keep wanting to call her Monica, but as Margaret said earlier, we are in our 5th version of Sharing Our Cultures this year. The first year, it was at Mealy Mountain in the multicultural room. Isn't that ironic? And it was largely like a heritage fair with a lot of booths. The second year, boom, COVID happened, and we were online. And I think the online version was like 10 hours long, part of which I caught in my car, and it was magnificent and truly represented the spirit of multiculturalism within our schools. The third time was the first time it was held here at the O'Brien Arts Centre, and it was fabulous. The kids who participated, they just blossomed in front of the audience as they put their culture and their language on display, and it was an excellent event. Last year we said, okay, we're not going to have it at Mealy Mountain nor the O'Brien Arts Centre. We're going to St. John's because there's a bigger event there. And we sent a contingency down there, and they had an awesome time. And here we are in 2024, back to Mealy Mountain again. And I've already experienced so much and learned so much already from the few presentations that have occurred here, including the Northern Games. The performance by Franz and John Sebastian, oh my God, that was wonderful. And then Margaret, I could not help but think about that movie Wanted, where Buddy was grabbing the thingy in the weaving machine. And I do want to know, Margaret, if there's actual code hidden in the strings or in the weave cords. So, we've got a lot more left today, and you are going to experience a lot more in terms of the cultural diversity that exists, not only at Mealy Mountain, but all the schools and the larger community in Labrador. And we wish the best of luck to all the participants and congratulate everybody on a fantastic performance. So, thank you, everybody. Not only thank you, merci beaucoup, Nakamek, and Niskamitten.
Thanks again to Ms. Tina White. Can we have another round of applause for her? Now, I'm not sure if I have an answer to her question, but I will have to look into that because that sounds very interesting. All right. Next up, we will have a student presentation in celebration of Indian culture and the art and history of henna. Please show some support for Gargi Kashal. En prochaine, accueillant Gargi Kashal au scène.
Good morning, everybody. My presentation is a brief overview of what henna is and how it is used. So to start off, what is henna? It is a paste made from powdered henna leaves mixed with various liquids, and this is usually water. It is then poured into a cone or used as a hair dye. How and why is henna used? Wearing and applying henna is a way to celebrate. It is used for birthdays, festivals, and especially weddings. Henna at weddings. One of the main rituals for a wedding is the mehendi, which translates into henna in Hindi. And it is when the bride and anybody who wants to gathers to sing, dance, and get their henna done professionally. And it is also a tradition to have the groom's name hidden in the design of the henna. And the henna is applied to the bride's arms, forearms, and feet. And it is also said that the darker the color of the henna stains, the deeper the bond between the couple will be. How is henna applied? The paste comes out of a cone, and it is kind of used like a piping bag, which is what the henna artist would make the designs with. It comes out as a paste, and it hardens after 15 minutes, and it needs to sit for at least 3 hours and up to 6 hours for the best results. And oftentimes, while it is hardened, oil is applied to make the color stain last longer. It is then scraped off, leaving an orange stain, which turns to dark red after 24 to 48 hours. Depending on the quality of the henna, it lasts at least 1 week and up to 3 weeks. Henna is also applied during fasts, and many Hindu goddesses are depicted with henna on their hands. Henna is something that can be done while freestyling, which is what many people do. As a normal person in India probably knows how to do henna. Here I have some designs that I have made, and I've made these through freestyle, and they were made with actual henna, which is hardened, and if I were to scrape it off, an orange stain would be visible. But there are also some specific henna designs that every artist knows how to do. The peacock design, for example, is the most common one, and every henna design and every henna artist learns this while they're first learning. A design with a central pattern and a similar pattern around the wrist and the fingertips is also very common. And there are also simple floral patterns. These are more of an Arabic design and are very abstract. And as you can see, this is a much fancier design, and these are heavily repeated patterns, and these are most common for weddings. And many designs are also used to depict scenes, and they can portray people, animals, and temples. Applying henna is an art and one of the truest forms of self-expression. Henna artists are found all over India, and it takes a lot of skill to be good at it. And people train for years to master this skill. And that is all. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Gargi. Can we have another round of applause? Our last student presentation for the morning is from Zayanara Miares and Diane Valentino, who will be showing you a traditional craft of the Philippines, buried leaf weaving. S'il vous plaît, accueillons. Sorry, I lost my French. S'il vous plaît, accueillons Zayanara Miares et aussi Diane Valentino. Leur présentation sur les créations buriées et les feuilles d'ananas de la culture philippine.
Mabuhay!
I'm Zaya.
And I'm Diane. Today we're going to share a little about leaf weaving. This craft showcases a part of the Filipino culture that turns plants that are native to the Philippines into practical items.
With a number of species of palm trees and other kinds of plants in the country, locals use the leaves to show their creativity. Leaves can be turned into baskets, mats, and even clothes. First off, we're going to talk about household items.
Banig. The banig is a hand-woven mat that is commonly used for sleeping or sitting. It is made by weaving buri, pandan, or reed leaves. The mat is made by cutting dried leaves into strips and weaving it into plain or intricate patterns, such as shown in the video.
Bayong. Bayong is a kind of bag that is versatile, and it was initially for carrying produce when one goes to the wet market. You may find different styles as some turn it into stylish handbags, like that one, adorned with beautiful paintings and ribbons. It is commonly made from buri or pandan leaves. Next, accessories.
Hats. These hats that can be made from a vine-like palm native plant called rattan were initially used as a form of shade while working under the sun. Nowadays, these hats are worn by farmers and are incorporated as a part of traditional clothing and even used as decorations for fiestas.
Pamaypay. Usually in the shape of a heart, a pamaypay is a traditional handheld fan that is necessary for the hot climate. It can be made of dried buri or anahaw leaves. Here we have a short clip of someone weaving a dried anahaw to make a pamaypay.
And clothing.
Piña fabric. Made from the leaves of a native pineapple in the province of Aklan, the elegant fabric is considered the finest textile in the country. Its production involves a strenuous process starting from the extraction of the fibers within the leaves to the weaving of threads with a pedalloom, as you can see here. The fragile-looking fabric, which is in fact durable, is often seen embroidered with floral designs. A modern form of the fabric is mixed with silk, making it more versatile and affordable.
And Barong Tagalog. The barong is the official national attire of the Philippines. It's a long-sleeved embroidered shirt, as she's showing over there, that can be worn for formal and semi-formal occasions. Its light and airy fabric is made from pineapple fibers, which is suitable for the tropical climate.
Filipiniana. Filipiniana is the female equivalent of the Barong Tagalog. The attire consists of puffy sleeves, a blouse, a skirt, and a panuelo. Variations such as the Barat Saya and Maria Clara have fabric that is made with pineapple fibers as well.
Leaf weaving demonstrates the resourceful craftsmanship of Filipinos.
It is a unique practice that should be kept as well as shared to many.
Maraming
Maraming salamat.
All right, thank you so much, Azia and Diane. Can we have another round of applause for them as we finish off our students? All right, at this time, I would like to introduce a performance by the Goose Bay Judo Club. Please welcome Mr. Colin Jacobs and Mr. Nick Parrott with the judo students of the Goose Bay Judo Club. À ce point, j'aimerais introduire un spectacle par le club de judo de Goose Bay. S'il vous plaît, donnez accueil à Colin Jacobs et Nick Parrott et les étudiants. All right, so please give a warm welcome for Colin Jacobs and Nick Parrott with the Goose Bay Judo Club.
Hello, good day everyone. I'm Nicholas Parrott, and we also have Colin Jacobs here helping out. He'll be up here now once. Me and Colin are both instructors at the Goose Bay Judo Club. We're also known as senseis in the sport. Colin and I have been in judo for several years. Colin been in a bit longer than me. He's been in since he was 9 years old. When we first started, the sensei was Bob Sims. He was the founder of the club in 1976. The club has taught us a lot with respect for ourselves and also respect for community members and people in judo. It's very, we take pride in that we teach more than just a sport. So what is judo? Judo, as I said, is a sport. Is also a martial art that derived from the traditions and fighting styles of the samurai in Japan. Sorry, just a little nervous. The fighting style then was modernized by who we hung up the photo there, Jikara Kano. He is the founder of the original sport. Judo teaches to us how to use our opponent's force, aggression, and strength against us, using throws, hold downs, chokes, and arm bars, and using the least amount of force of your own. In fact, judo translates in English to the gentle way. Yeah. But judo isn't just about self-defense and throwing someone through the air, as you may see on TV, and the common belief of judo chops. There is no chops in judo. There's just throws, hold downs, and arm bars. But with that translation, as I said, is the gentle way. We use this in a way to use our force against our opponent. And Bob was always, he always came back to that to demonstrate how we can use our opponent against them. And soon enough, we'll see our young judokas here, and you'll see how we can use that. But he was always quick to draw parallels with this between our real life and our careers. And that same thing, we always use the gentle way. We don't oppose a force. We change our direction on it. We pivot, you take a new view on it, and you use that to make your success. Furthermore, to be a part of the judo culture, you must also continue to grow in the sport. As well, you must also demonstrate the ability to be honest, to be humble, to kind, and encouraging. All these are criteria in grading and to move along in judo. And without this, you will be sit in a stale. So we always encourage that you grow not just in the sport, but as a human being. With this too, we always show our respect in judo. So whenever we enter onto the mat, or we competition, or we go to oppose an opponent, we always bow. That shows our respect that above all else, we respect you and you respect us. So with that, we'll have a slight little demonstration here for our judokas, and we appreciate your attendance.
Another round of applause. Wasn't that cool? Test. All right, so as we get reset up here, I would like to welcome our 2024 Sharing Our Cultures project coordinator to the stage. She's been absolutely amazing throughout this whole process, and we're very happy to have her here, Miss Jessica Keefe. She will be speaking during our final performance, Recognizing Our Culture Through Fashion. S'il vous plaît, accueillons à la scène la coordinatrice à la découverte de nos cultures 2024 ici, Madame Jessica Keefe.
Thank you all for coming today to support our participating students at Mealy Mountain Collegiate, for supporting this wonderful program by sharing our cultures and joining us today in celebration of Multicultural Month. I would like to take this time to thank our students that have worked hard on their presentations for this event in recognition of United Nations Day for the elimination of racial discrimination. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our students back to the stage. Please welcome to the stage Aiden Wheeler. Aiden is wearing a traditional shilaput and Indigenous Games pants. Make some noise for Aiden Wheeler! And Marshall Harding. Next, we have Mr. Franz Halvey and John Sebastian, who did a wonderful job today representing their culture, the Philippines. Please give a round of applause for our MC today, Margaret Bayere, wearing a beautiful kente cloth representing her culture, Ghana. Next, we have Gargi Kaushal. She's wearing a traditional silk sari today. She's representing and celebrating her culture, India. Last but not least, we have Zia Mijares and Diane Valentino wearing traditional attire of the Philippines. Beautiful girls. A big round of applause, please, for our 2024 Sharing Our Culture students. We thank you for your participation, sharing your culture with us today in recognition of multicultural and intercultural awareness.
All right. In closing, I would like to finally welcome the CEO and founder of Sharing Our Cultures, Dr. Loidera Cueco. Enfin, des mots de clôture du Dr. Loidera Cueco.
Well, merci beaucoup, Margaret. Bonjour tout le monde. Hello, everyone. What a great program. Another round of applause. I think this is great. I'm so glad you're all here to celebrate this day with us. I want to first of all start off by thanking the government of Newfoundland, Labrador, but also the government of Canada, through the Canadian Heritage Program and ACOA, for their financial support in making this program and the event possible. I also want to thank Mr. Brazel. He's the principal of Mealy Mountain Collegiate, and wouldn't be possible for us to have this event if he had not given us permission and opened up his school for our coordinator and the students to participate. So we thank him very much for that. And Mr. Emery, he's been a teacher sponsor, and he's been committed to sharing our cultures and assisting the students as well. And all the school staff, we really want to acknowledge their assistance and help throughout the program and, of course, the event today. Thank you. Now, even though Minister Hutchins couldn't be with us, she really was so happy to be asked to say a few words, so she decided to have that on video, and I think she took the time to do that as well, so we appreciate that from her. 5 years ago, I entered the Happy Valley-Goose Bay Town Hall. I didn't really know who was kind of on the other end of the wall, and I showed up, and we said, we want to have sharing our cultures in this beautiful town. And of course, I left the building excited about the fact that the town also wanted us to be here. So I really appreciate the Deputy Mayor, Ella Wallace, coming and your words, and we really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And we love the town. We love the town. That's why we keep coming back. MHA Perry Trimper has been a long time acquaintance of mine, and unfortunately he couldn't be with us today, but we want to thank his constituency assistant, Bunny Learning. Thank you so much for delivering those words of encouragement and helping us see the value of cultural diversity in each human being. So thank you so much. Thank you. And Tina White, we love you. What can I say? You play a significant role at the NL schools over many years, and as a member of our advisory board, we value your commitment and your wisdom. So thank you, thank you. Thank you for your words. We appreciated that. We'd like to also acknowledge the principal, Lindsay Bennett, of the Queen of Peace Middle School, because she made the arrangements for students to be here. And so we really want to I want to thank all the grade 6 and grade 7 students who are here. You were marvelous. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah. That's good. That's great. Okay. And we want to thank the staff at the Lawrence O'Brien Art Center for their assistance, Suzanne and Liam, who's making us look good under the magic of lights and sound. So thank you very much to them. And of course, we were delighted to have École Boreal students come to this event today. And it's the beginning of a good relationship and partnerships and connection. So we're hoping that in the future, we'll have their participation on stage as well. So a great round of applause for École Boreal and for their staff. Okay, we do have some participating organizations there in the foyer, and you'll get to see them. So we do have the Innu Nation represented by Jody Ashini, and she's the Innu Cultural Heritage Guardian. We also have the Association for New Canadians represented by Melanie Roy. We have Charlene Penny with Timeless North, and Caroline Tyner with the Labrador Friendship Center. So thank you for their community support. So let's give them a round of applause as well. And thanks to our coordinator, Jessica Keefe, for working with the students and working with the community to help put this event together. So thank you so much, Jessica. Where is she? She's gonna come out. Come out, Jessica. Let's have a look at you again. Once again, to all the students, at Millie Mountain, Queen of Peace Middle School, École Boreal, and all your teachers and the staff and those who work with you, we appreciate them very much. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Bonne journée, and have a nice day. Thank you.